Hello there ladies and gentlemen, I am PrettyTAF and welcome to this M4A4 weapon guide for CSGO. In this guide I'll be going over all the basic and in-depth facts surrounding the M4, such as damage, stats, spread, recoil control, pros and cons and more. For starters, the M4A4 isn't its actual name, instead it's a fictional name used for future iterations of the already iconic M4A1 carbine, which sees extensive use in US departments like the US military and police. It's also used by more than 60 nations across the globe in their military and police forces. The M4 is a gas-operated light carbine weapon fed by the NATO standard 5.56x4.5 Stanag magazine setup with a capacity of 30 rounds. In game it costs $3,100, which makes it the second most expensive automatic rifle in class, and is a stable choice for the CT side, but it has a heavy cost if you lose it. Kills with the M4A4 reward a player with $150 in casual and $300 in competitive. The M4 has a base damage of 33, making it the second most powerful rifle in class, and its moderate rate of fire of 666 rounds per minute makes it also the second best in class, losing out to the FAMAS and its burst fire mode. The M4 takes 1.13 seconds to deploy, the second slowest in class. It takes 1.37 seconds to insert a new magazine into the weapon when reloading, and it takes 3.07 seconds to make ready to fire after reloading, making it the third slowest reload in class. To put this into perspective, it would take you a whole half a second longer to fire after reloading when you compare it to the AK-47. So if you two are toe to toe and you need to reload, chances are you're dead. So when you do reload, be sure to take cover, and don't pop out until your weapon is ready to fire. I cannot tell you how many times that minor delay has got me killed when I need to pop out on an enemy, so bear it in the front of your mind when you use the M4. Speaking of popping in and out of cover, the M4 has a movement speed of 225 units per second, making it the third fastest weapon in class, and has a comparable speed to the M4A1S and the Mag 7. The M4 will kill an unarmoured opponent with one shot to the head, but with armour it takes two shots. With an armour penetration of 70%, it has a slight damage reduction to armoured opponents, but not so much that it renders the weapon completely useless. The exact damage to each part of the body can be seen here. To unarmoured opponents, the M4 deals 131 damage to the head, which is an insta-kill, 32 to the chest and arms, 40 to the stomach, and 24 to the legs. To armoured opponents, it deals 92 damage to the head, so it's 2-shot kill, 23 to the chest and arms, 28 to the stomach, and 24 to the legs. The damage reduction isn't too bad for the rate of fire, so it should redeem it in certain situations. With a range modifier of 0.970, this gives the M4 very minor drops in damage when it comes to range. To demonstrate the drop-off versus range, here are some charts that clearly demonstrate it. As you can see, the M4 versus an unarmoured opponent will take some damage. Dealing 33, its base damage, at point blank range, it then steadily drops off by 0.25 damage per 2.5 meters. Only then, when we get past the 38 meter mark, the damage drops off by 0.36 per 2.5 meters. The only reason it looks like a sharp decline at the end is because of the larger interval reading for the final three ranges. Against an armoured opponent it's the same story, but the starting damage is lessened to 23 per shot. The damage drops off by around 0.10 to 0.15 depending on range, but it's still pretty consistent. Although with 5 well-placed shots being needed to kill a target at range, it's a gamble since many other weapons could kill you quite quickly in that time, player skill depending. An uncontrolled spray pattern follows the predictable T-shaped pattern like the AK-47. The first 7 bullets ride upwards, and between the 7th and 10th bullet it begins to stray to the left, before changing direction and going right between the 11th and 15th round, to which it stays for a bit and needs no control. Finally, the 21st and 30th bullets, it starts to go back off to the left. To counter this with a mouse, I found it quite easy. The spray pattern is as follows. You start with the first 7 bullets, fire a short burst whilst dragging the crosshair down. Once you control that, add the next 3 bullets to learn the next countering move, then add the next 10 bullets that are countered by moving the mouse left, and then finally add 5 bullets that are countered by moving the mouse right. The final 5 bullets do not need to be counted. The easy spray pattern makes this gun good at getting a decent amount of shots downrange accurately, making it a great weapon for aggressive CT players. I myself prefer to use this weapon in bursts and taps because I know that I can A, control it, and B, when the recoil starts taking me in another direction. Statistically though, the spread is as follows. The weapon has a recoil magnitude rating of 23, making it the third lowest magnitude in class. It adds an additional 0.60 recoil per shot in fully automatic fire. Its running spread is 137.88, so it's not amazingly accurate when moving and shooting, but such is characteristical of a rifle. Its stationary standing spread is 4.90, which is good, and of course its most controllable is when you're stationary and crouched, with a nice neat rating of 3.68. To make the most of this weapon, I find that when moving, stopping, using the opposite key to reset the recoil, crouching and spraying around the head area gives me the best results when I use the M4. Now personally for me, I find this weapon is well balanced and is definitely a solid choice for CT side as a counter against the onslaught of AKs, but it has both pros and cons in my mind. The pros being it has a good rate of fire, it's easy to control, and the movement speed is faster than AK users, and I have an Emperor skin, so that's happy. The cons, it's ready to fire delay, it is easy to forget, so you get caught out by that. It has less power than the AK, and it's pretty expensive in comparison to the AK. It's like, what, $400 more expensive than the AK, and it deals less damage. So, between the AWP and the M4, I'd have an AWP any day. And that being said, ladies and gents, it brings us to the end of my video. I have tried to cram so much useful information into the video to give you the best chance of knowing all there is to know about this weapon, and to hopefully help you understand it better so you can make your way to mastering it. I have been PrettyTAF. Leave a like and sub as always. Thank you so much for watching, and tune in next time where we delve into everything you need to know about the cheaper T-side auto rifle, the Galil AR. Alright, I'm off now, so bye bye.